This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada, because going big never goes out of style. Learn more at nissanusa.com.
Here we go.
Hi, Baji.
Hey, Sufi.
Big day today.
What's that? Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Axel's birthday.
Lobby baby turns 7.
Yeah.
An incredible development. Weirdly, totally normal to me that my oldest is 9. Crazy to me that my middle is 7. Like, that's the one. Yeah. Axel growing up is stranger to me than Ash.
Well, he's never going to grow up all the way.
No, he's very unique. They took their annual photo where Alexi and him laid on the floor in the lobby. They take it once a year. It's gonna make an
does he curl up in her arms, or
he lies on her belly, so he lies on her chest like he had when. I mean,
oh, that's great.
I'm always like, wouldn't it be funny if he was crawling out of your pants? But nobody wants to take that one. But it was also his yes day. Do you know this development of kids wanting a yes day for their birthday?
No, but I don't know if I like it.
It's just that they get a yes day where you have to say yes to everything. But
it's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Also, you're not going to live by it. Also, Axel immediately said he wanted his first thing. I was like, all right, what do you want first on your yes day? He goes, every day after this is also a yes day. Like, that's not. So he's literally like the kid who gets a genie and just wishes for infinite wishes.
Isn't there like a whole sort of parenting scheme now that you're like, you're not supposed to tell your kids no.
Right.
And now there's a day where you're supposed to say yes to everything?
It's, by the way, it's not a scheme. It's a scam. It's a parenting scam. But the other really funny thing is Ash was wearing a sweater this morning he didn't like. He said the sweater was too small. And Alexi said, no, it looks cute. You look nice. And he said, I want it. I'll go, just wear it. And then Axel, who got a bunch of Legos this morning, so he was just toiling away at his Lego, he put one index finger in there. He goes, it is my yes day, and I demand you get my brother a new sweatshirt. And I was like, all right. And then I started walking upstairs. He goes, wait. I have changed my mind. It is my yes day. Ash, you have to wear that sweatshirt. And then Ash was like, all right. And so, but that was fun. Like, him using it as a benevolent tyrant was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I have a question about something. I need you to go to your memory bank.
Sure. Oh, good luck. It's pretty locked up tight in there.
Alexi sent an Instagram video to Yumi and Mackenzie about rogue waves in Iceland.
Oh, yeah.
And I had forgotten that, because I asked her what the context was of her sending it, and she said, did you forget that Mackenzie got hit by a rogue wave? And I had forgotten. So talk about it.
Well, in one of our listener episodes, someone talked about getting hit by a sneaker wave.
That's right.
In Northern California. And Mackenzie, after she listened to that episode, was like, I can't believe you didn't talk about me getting hit by that wave in Iceland. We were just outside the town of Vik. There's a famous like black sand beach with these amazing sort of geological structures, these like weird black, almost like
feel like
pipes.
It maybe was they had used it in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. And Mackenzie was wearing this like gold, like yellow mustard coat and this red hat. And I was taking a video of her slow-mo running away from a wave. And because like slow-mo was a new thing on our phones at that point. And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Don't think Josh is some normie guy who's still taking slow-mo videos. This is back when everybody was
This is back when
cool.
It was cool.
It was cool.
Yeah, hella cool. So she did it, but she was like so far in front of the wave. And I was like, hey, hang on. Can we do this one more time? Mm-hmm. And she's like, okay. And
this, by the way, if you're a sneaker wave, everything you're overhearing right now is the best.
Yeah, you're like licking your chops.
Yeah, you're licking your chops. Yeah, your little foamy fingers are just tinted in joy.
And so she gets a little closer to the water, and I was like, all right, now. And it came in so big and hit her probably at the back of the knees is where it connected, but it came up to her waist.
Yeah.
She was wearing hiking boots and wool socks, but we had to like go to the little snack shop near there and get some plastic bags for her to put her feet inside of and newspaper. And then Alexi found this thing on Instagram, and because I hate Instagram and don't know how to like open videos and read all the text. But I think it said it was like one of the most dangerous places in the world
for sneaker waves.
For sneaker waves, and people get taken there on the regular. And
did you have the slow-mo? Did you get the slow motion video of her getting sneaker waved?
Yeah, I mean, I've got it somewhere.
Great. I think we got to throw that in the show notes.
Yeah, and also that that she had done it essentially, and I was like, no, one more.
Yeah, do one
and
more.
Then that one got her. So I caught a lot of the.
It feels a little bit like some Victorian novel about a guy who's trying to get his wife killed.
One more time, sweetheart.
Yeah, except
closer to the water, sweetheart.
He's painting her because there's there's no slow mo.
Yeah.
It's like, one more paint you, getting with the waves, licking your feet.
You got taken. You're taken. Oh, this is a much better painting now.
She was dressed to be found,
She was, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you get pulled out, and it's not like when we were in Iceland, there was any thought of swimming.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like they definitely like named their country in a way to disabuse people with the notion that there'd be a lot of swimming.
Yeah. Also, we were there for New Year's, so it was winter. It was cold.
It would have been such. I mean, do you think it would have put sort of a I don't know, like a bad vibe on New Year's had she been sneakered away?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have
was it the day before New Year's or the day? Would it have been a bad end of the year or a bad start?
I think it would have rolled over.
Yeah, it might have been a rollover.
I do think it was in in late December.
Late December. So you don't think on like New Year's Eve you'd have been like, glad I got a fresh slate. I will say that I echo on behalf of Mackenzie. I am deeply disappointed in both of us that we talked about sneaker waves on this podcast and did not remember that she almost got sneakered away.
I remembered it, but I had recently been to. I told a story about being in Oregon and these people telling me I had never heard the term sneaker wave until I was there, and when I heard that woman tell a story about a sneaker wave, I just went to Oregon and was thinking about Manzanita, and yeah.
What would our mom call a sneaker wave?
We did this before. I said a sneaker peaker wave, but you had
we
some.
Did do it. Yeah. No, I think you're right. In my head, that was the one.
Mom's going on a family trip right now. Her sister Alex has flown across the country.
Yep.
And then they're going to drive down, or maybe they fly down to their other sister's house in Bethany Beach, Delaware.
They're going to go see Christy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I put together a list of like possible movies for them to watch.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
What was, all right, so this is a septuagenarian and octogenarian movie list. What were some of your choices?
I think they should watch that documentary, They Shall Not Grow Old. I think is incredible.
World War I doc, right?
World War I doc, and their grandfather was there.
Yeah.
In the Somme. Yeah. I think that's really good. It's not like, it's fascinating. It's really great. There's another documentary called The Gardener, which is about this beautiful garden up in Canada called Les Quatre Vents, that I watched on a plane once, and it's just beautiful. There's a new movie, Thelma, that I haven't seen with June Squibb.
Oh, yeah. She's like a 90-year-old bank robber, right?
Yeah. Taste of Things with Juliette Binoche, which I haven't seen.
I saw Taste of Things, and I think they would like it.
Yeah. And then I also really liked, it was a while ago now, but Portrait of a Lady on Fire is another beautiful French movie. Yeah.
Pretty horny, that one.
It's a little horny, but
I would say it's deeply horny. I highly recommend it to anybody who wants a little horniness.
Yeah.
It's
maybe
like
that's
French.
our mom
it's French,
and sisters.
French horny painting.
In like an island or just sort of a very remote.
Yeah. It definitely starts with somebody showing up with a bunch of paints and a boat.
Yeah.
They got there by boat.
Yeah. If that doesn't say horny, I don't know what does.
It gets pretty horny. I'm just saying. It was it ticked a lot of horny boxes.
Yeah. Oh, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, which I still haven't seen, but looks like it's a real charmer up their alley.
Right. Yeah. We've fully switched into recommendation mode. But, maybe
recommendations for mom and her sister.
Yeah, but and also, our listeners are hearing it now, but I just finished in 2 nights, I finished a show that there was a bit of a barrier of entry for me because I thought, oh, this is maybe just going to be too depressing. Mm-hmm. The show Dying for Sex, Michelle Williams, and based on a real story about a woman who had stage 4 terminal cancer, and it is such a wonderful show.
Yeah, Mackenzie, it's on our list.
8 episodes, half an hour each. Michelle Williams, who is truly one of our greatest living actors, is better than I've ever seen her. And Jenny Slate and Rob Delaney and wonderful guest stars. So, you know what? Since you were just taking up so much space, being like, recommending this and that. And so. Another thing, I'm in a book club. And our book this last month was Slaughterhouse-5. Uh-huh. And I realized your dad's toast at my wedding was thematically about Slaughterhouse-5.
Oh.
And what Dad said, and it was the most Dad. And I have not watched any of my wedding toasts since my wedding, except for Will Forte's.
Right.
Because it felt like a comedy sketch. But like anything emotional, I didn't want to watch again because I just... And I watched Dad's again because it was about Slaughterhouse-5. And it's truly such a wonderful toast. Huh? But it's also the most Dad thing because he says, I reread Slaughterhouse-5 because I knew it was one of Seth's favorite books. And I'd read it a long time ago and I didn't like it. And so I read it again. I still don't like it. But he had this really lovely point about reading the book. I mean, Dad didn't like it, but he fully understood it and understood what was beautiful and cool about it. And I clipped it and sent it to everybody at the book club. And so most of our book club was talking about what a good toast Dad has. With that said, Pashi, with that said, I still don't think I could. I don't know what day I'm going to rewatch yours because I think it'll put me through the emotional ringer again.
Yeah. Save it.
Yeah.
Save it.
For those who don't know, the whole time Pashi was like, you shouldn't get married. She should marry me. It was so weird. All right. We have a wonderful conversation coming up.
Yeah. Adam Pally.
Adam Pally is a real fun human being. And I was so happy to have him on our pod.
Yeah.
All right. Give him a listen. Thanks, everybody.
Family trips with the Meyers brothers. Family trips with the Meyers brothers. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning.
That was a very brotherly entrance to the morning. Thank you.
That's what we do. That's how we roll.
No, it's great. It's like seeing 2 friends from college that are brothers at the same time, and they're like, hey.
Again, a lot of people that we went to college with have that joyfulness because we are friends with a lot of the same people from our college years.
Yeah. I saw Ike was on the show last night. That reminded me of that. It's you guys just have such a lovely familial energy. It's really uplifting.
Yeah,
we just we had Ike. I had dinner with Ike last night, which is lovely. With Pete Gross as well, another person you know.
Oh yeah, I'm siphoning all your old friends that you came up with to do my comedic bidding.
I think we see it another way, which is we believe you're coming into the fold. So,
that's very nice. I've been told the exact opposite of that.
No, this is rising tide. This is rising tide lifting all boats.
Good. Which is what I believe our economy should be as well.
Should we just talk about the economy?
My Reaganomic views.
I had this thing where every time it was the 10th time Ike was on the show, and I have this feeling every time I'm introducing him at the top of the show, I'm like, you've seen him in this, you've seen him in that. And I always want to add, I've seen him in his tighty whities. While he was very, making
running
pizza
through
rolls.
Amsterdam. In jean shorts.
It's so lovely to have you here, buddy. Thank you for joining us.
Are you kidding? Thank you so much. I love this podcast, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
You have your own podcast now with an old friend of yours.
Yeah, I'm miserable about it. I do not understand how we got here. I mean, like, all due respect to podcasts and everything, I'm a movie star.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Like, I don't understand why. I'm talking now.
Yeah, you're talking. I mean, look, Rob Lowe, he just joined the space. Like, don't. You're
Like, I want to hear from Rob Lowe.
I do want those people who've never seen Adam to hear his voice and then picture what kind of movie star you think he looks like.
I know. Every time I go on that rant, someone's like, in what world are you a movie star? In what world are you living in? No, it's nice, and to do it with my buddy like you guys are doing is awesome. John Gabris is one of the funniest human beings on the planet. So
you and John did it's very in line with this podcast, but it was not about family trips. You did a show called, what was it, 101 Places to Party Before You Die?
Yes, that's right. It's called 101 Places to Party Before You Die. We got to 8.
I will say,
and then your friend died.
Yeah, pretty much the show.
In this age of television, it's very bold to establish with the title that you're going to do 100 episodes,
especially for my track record, which is pretty much one and done. It was a bold choice, but I think it lives on in that way. But the podcast was kind of like born from that, because the show was about, us going to these different cities like we would when we were, touring improv comedians and partying for the weekend. And now we're in our mid to late 40s and we have to kind of get it together. And so we're like trying to get well, essentially, and stay alive. And
it's a wellness podcast for people who are coming to the idea of wellness a little bit later.
Yeah, or just learning it, just learning that concept. I mean, truly, some of the things that we had this dietitian on who was like, you need to get 8 hours of sleep, and I was like, okay, so like, what can you do besides that? That is just not.
I feel like I had a similar thing with my my dentist has always been telling me to like floss more, and I'm like, yeah, I will. And then they just had to do some procedure, like this crazy deep cleaning thing, and they were like, yeah, and now you have to floss more, and I was like, all right. And they were like, or you'll get gum disease. And I was like, all right, so now I'm going to start flossing. But I made it almost 50 years without really doing it. So
yeah, and death creeps in through the gums.
Yeah.
That's what they keep telling you.
I just read, not flossing is the new smoking. The new sitting, which is the new not
sitting.
Monjaro. Yeah, you got to be on all that if you want to live.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. Support for family trips comes from Airbnb. Hey, Baji.
Yes, Yufi.
We've got a big trip coming up.
We sure do.
We're going to Amsterdam. The nice thing about any place in Amsterdam, especially a place like an Airbnb where people live, steepest, most fun stairs for kids to see in person.
Yeah.
The stairs in Amsterdam, it's almost a ladder.
Yeah, it's like our old attic stairs. Like we had to pull out sort of a trap door and then fold this ladder out. And that's what every stairwell in Holland feels like.
Yeah.
I've always loved getting an Airbnb in Amsterdam because you have a little living room with a television and a little kitchen, and you can go to the Albert Heijn, which is the Dutch grocery store, and stock up. If you're just in a basic hotel room, you can't do all that stuff. You don't have the infrastructure.
With Airbnb, you can reinforce the idea of making memories both as a traveler and as a host. Because, hosting brings in a little extra scratch, Posh. If you're not in your house, why not turn it into some cold, hard cash?
Yeah. One of the great things about Airbnb also is that if you have a lovely home and you've made it nice for yourself, you could be out of town. You could let someone come stay at your house. You could make a little money, and you could let them enjoy life the way that you've set your life up to be.
And Posh, if you don't mind, could you, in a way that is offensive to Dutch people but funny to everyone else, please be a Dutch person telling me that your home is available via Airbnb for 100 guilders a night?
Yeah, when come you here? Oh, in June? Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, I have a small room. And then there's also my friend Jaap has a whole beautiful apartment on a canal.
Oh, all right, buddy. Your home could be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by Nissan.
Hey, Sufi.
Yeah, Pashy.
What's that thing I always say about going big and it never going out of style?
Oh, I remember. Going big never goes out of style.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why we at Family Trips love partnering with Nissan, because they know that going big never goes out of style, especially when it comes to the 2025 Nissan lineup.
And the Nissan vehicle we want to give a huge shout out to today, the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X.
Sufi, what's that thing I always say about the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X?
Pashy, you always say that no terrain is too tough for the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. It's the most capable Armada ever built.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like your catchphrase.
Yeah, I'm known for saying that, and how could I not? With a new powerful engine, incredible towing capacity, and adventure-ready technology, this is the first Armada to earn the Pro 4X badge.
It's built for the most rugged of terrain thanks to the fact that it's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, which means it's ready to give you the freedom to explore further and to propel your adventures to new heights.
And my favorite part? The Armada's premium interior seats up to 8 passengers. That means we can bring our 6 best friends with us on our next adventure. Let's name them right now.
And we're out of time. So thanks again to Nissan for sponsoring this episode of Family Trips. Explore further with the Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Here we go.
All right, so Pally. Oh, first of all, you also have 3 children. I think that sometimes you present as a guy who's just like in perpetual youth and you can't get it together.
That's
But
whoa. That was half a compliment, and I accept it.
But you had kids young. You have, how's your oldest now?
My oldest, actually, this weekend is I have Irish twins. They're 13 and 12, and I don't think that phrase is still good, but I have twins close together, and they're getting bar mitzvah this weekend. So they're 13
Wow.
and 12, yeah.
Wait, they're so close together you can do one bar mitzvah?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And did they sign off and agree on that?
I mean, I think that's Jewish twins.
Don't think I didn't think about that at conception. I was like, 12 years from now down the line, we could do it 2 for 1. Yeah, no, it's wow. I feel like I feel young, but I'm 43 and I had kids at 30. And that was, I guess it's like in entertainment that's old, but in like my high school friends, it's like I was one of the later ones to like settle down and have kids,
I think that's about right. Like late for non-showbiz, but very early for showbiz.
Oh, extreme. Well, yeah, but like when I got married, I was a writer.
Yeah. And you also married a high school sweetheart?
High school sweetheart, yeah. So I did not think any of this would happen.
By the way, you just gestured in a room where it seems like, and again, it might just be the perspective that you could reach out and touch both walls.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. This was like, this was like supposed to be my office in my head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then reality set in that I have a mother-in-law, and so it became like this kind of like throw everything in that room of the house. And now this is where I conduct Zoom business.
There is there's a telltale sign of a man who thought it would be his room, which is there's a guitar over your shoulder. Well, there's a couple of guitars.
Yeah, no, I'm an actor also, so I saw that if you're going to be on any sort of Zoom, you have to have at least one guitar. So I got a bunch of them. I don't play, I've never played.
So these are like yard sale guitars?
Oh, yeah. No, these are actually quite expensive. I just wanted to put a nice image up there. But no, I can't play a lick.
All right, so I'm very excited about it. New York City kid? Where were you born in the city?
Well, New York City and Chicago. I was born in New York City and grew up in the Lower East Side in Stuyvesant Town until I was like 9, and then we moved to Skokie.
And what was the impetus behind going to Skokie?
So my parents were lounge singers when I was a child and actors, and they had a very I don't think there's a word for the opposite of illustrious, but they had a career They had a career, and they would like sing. Like, I don't know if these hotels are even there anymore, if they mean anything to you guys, because you're from a different area, like Kutcher's or the Tamament, like these old vaudeville.
Are these like Catskills?
Yeah, like Catskills, Jewish, giant like getaways.
Dirty Dancing is what we should be picturing. Yes,
yes, they would.
My wedding.
Yeah.
yeah. They would be the like couple, like from the Dresden that played in the lobby.
Right.
And they did that till I was like 9 years old. And then my father had a string of close calls to things he almost got, and it kind of sent him into this, taking stock of your life. And he went to medical school at 34.
Wow.
With 3 children.
So medical school, and he went to medical school in Illinois?
University of Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
By the way, like that seems like a very good medical school for a guy who was a lounge singer.
I thought that as well, except it had come to my attention recently that it also was the only medical school at the time that would give scholarships to Jewish people, because there was a slightly anti-Semitic pushback in the medical community, especially at the time, to like not let so many Jews into this industry. And so a lot of medical schools were capping numbers of Jews that could go. And so the University of Chicago was one of the only schools that did the opposite of that. They like brought Jews in. So they gave my dad like a bunch of assistants to go. So for like my whole life, I was like, University of Chicago. And now I'm like, wait a minute. Is that in like Panama?
Had he been a good undergrad student?
Yeah. I mean, he was into the arts, and like he was a theater kid and was like a couple credits shy of graduating. And so
he was probably great in the interview.
Yeah. They're kidding. The looker too. He's so handsome. You guys want to see a picture?
Yeah.
And were they always a team?
All right, he's going to retrieve a picture.
Okay, he's taking off the wall. He's taking a framed photo off the wall. In this day and age, it's really awesome to. Oh my God, this is fantastic.
I mean,
it looks. Need a photo of this for the show notes.
Yeah, it looks like they would have like toured with the Bee Gees.
Yeah, I will say your parents are very attractive.
Thank you. Yes. No, they're lookers, and yeah, can you imagine walking into a doctor's office and seeing that and then being told like, that's me.
Yeah. That's me. And also,
Let's take a look.
And they're like, you went to the University of Chicago though. How'd that work? And it's like, oh, only because I'm Jewish.
Yeah. Anyway, what are we dealing with today?
So
Snap.
How was your mom? Was your mom behind this idea when he said, "Hey, you know what? I gave it a shot, and now I'm going to be a doctor"?
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways that was like winning the lottery for. It's like she really liked theater, but it was never her thing, and she did a lot of the organizational things to get them from place to place. So when my father was like, "I want to be a doctor," I think she was like, "Oh, okay." I don't know if she realized how long that would take and how much debt we would go in, but it all worked out.
9 years old was that? Where do your 2 sisters? Where do they fall? Above you? Below you?
Younger than me.
Okay, gotcha.
Me. Yeah.
How do you remember taking news of the move?
I really liked it. I loved Skokie. Skokie's a pretty great place to grow up.
Yeah, we did. We were born in Evanston, and then both went to Northwestern, so we know
the area.
Yeah, I really love Skokie. I was actually back there this summer shooting. We shot the Steph Curry show there, and it was wild to be like shooting at that like public pool, where I would like have camp. It was just like a surreal experience. But it was exciting to be going from a New York kid. One of the things I'm seeing it now with my kids, New York kids can be really jaded. really easily, and nothing kind of impresses them at all, because every day, like, my kids take a train through Times Square. It's like, and someone's climbing on the pole, and like, it's like very little is going to throw them. And I remember having that sensation as well, especially growing up in Stuyvesant Town. And like, I remember walking on 14th Street as a young kid. It was like not on the Lower East Side. It was like not good. And so when we went to Skokie, there was this like kind of like something special about me that was like, I'm now from a small town USA. And I remember like really embracing it. And even I think that's why psychologically probably like my accent is such a hot mess, because I was so happy to find friends in Chicago and get there. And like I just like assimilated right away. Yeah. And was, calling it pop, and it was like I did not look back.
Yeah. Well, at 9 years old, you're certainly going to sort of fall in line with what other kids are doing.
Yeah.
Completely. And I was a new kid, and it was just like, and it was awesome. And we stayed in Chicago until I was like 14. And then 14, then we came to New Jersey, where my dad opened up a practice.
Gotcha. Far outside of the city, or?
No, about 20 minutes. So I had all my like family and friends and stuff, but we were now like, I went to high school in like suburban New Jersey, which was another change, which is where probably, again, psychologically how you end up with your high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you're going to stick around? Like,
Did you ever go on a vacation that was a working vacation for your parents when you would go to countries?
All the time. I mean, that was my whole life, was just like hating the babysitter and throwing fits about how like I could be alone in the hotel room, and like yelling at my mom, who was like in a sequins gown, like going over the lyrics to "You Gotta Have Friends." She's like, I can't right now,
It's a great song. It's really a great song.
And I was like, well, how could you not? There's like 2 lyrics.
Am I like wrong to picture sort of Fabulous Baker Boys, like your dad at a piano and your mom on the piano?
It's 100%.
That's it.
That's what it was. And every time you're one of the only people that can share that reference because of our age.
Yes.
Like anytime I'm like, it's like the Fabulous Baker Boys, people look at me like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a movie that really penetrated culture.
It weirdly, although I think if you were of age when that movie came
for
out.
Us, yeah. I mean, it's like Michelle Pfeiffer in that red dress.
Right? On a piano.
On a piano.
Remember,
she was Jessica Rabbit in the flesh.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was like burned into your skull. Except for some reason, it just like never, like anyone under our age, that movie doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Weird.
But so did you ever watch them perform, or was it just were they performing too late at night?
They were performing late at night. I watched them a couple times, like from the side, but I don't really have like recollection of like, I have audio of it that we've listened to, which is really fun, but I don't have like recollection of like watching them do it really.
What were they called?
Pally and Pal.
Oh, great.
That's really good.
Oh yeah. Can't beat it. Can't beat it.
And so was it were the summers their busy time when people were sort of packed into hotels up in the Catskills, or were they weekend performers?
Weekend performers, weekend performers. And then my dad during the week played at the Empire Diner, which I have way more memories of that as a kid, because it was like right up 13th Street. So my mom would pick me up from school and we'd take the bus up 14th Street and then walk to 23rd and sit in the Empire Diner from like 7 till 9 till he finished. And then we'd go home. And
I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with the Empire Diner. Is it
the
just
Empire
a diner?
Diner? It's just like a diner on 10th Avenue that is pretty famous for being like the last diner before you hit the Lincoln Tunnel, kind of. And
it looks the way you want a diner to look in in sort of a late 60s, early 70s New York movie.
Yeah, and there's a piano in the corner, and my dad would like sit there and play, and people would put money in the Piano Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your recollection, so that's your pre 9 years old, and you are just sort of hanging out at the diner, probably having dinner with your mom.
Yep.
And are your sisters there too?
Yeah, my younger sister's there, and then my mom was pregnant with my littlest. So that's for most of my memory of it. I'm sure she wasn't.
You started doing homework at the
Mm-hmm.
diner? That's what an amazing memory to have.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like it's also very cool to have that, like, also in contrast to a very normal childhood of, like, going to Solomon Schechter Day School in Skokie, and, like, like, it's very quickly shifted.
It's like you were a family on the run from your past, even though nothing about your past was illegal. Like,
I often think that. I often wonder, like, what my dad actually did.
Yeah.
And he's such a genial, kind of, like, sweet. He's a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, he looks like Kevin Kline. He looks like a yoked Kevin Kline. and, like, I just can't imagine him, like, running a numbers scheme, but, like, we ran from Skokie pretty quick.
You got out.
Middle of the night, I ended up in Florham Park, New Jersey. What the hell?
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
Support for family trips comes from Visit Baltimore. Pashi, Baltimore is a rising star in the U.S. It's often overlooked, but it definitely belongs on your vacation radar. Forget the usual big cities where you end up lost in a crowd. Instead, experience the charm of Baltimore, which is actually known as, Pashi, tell them what its nickname is.
Charm City.
It seamlessly combines sports, history, art, food, and culture into a one-of-a-kind experience. Are you craving seafood? From crabs to oysters, Baltimore is a seafood lover's paradise. Try the city's big three: crab dip, steamed blue crabs, and crab cakes are the true stars.
Yeah. Visit Baltimore sent us some gift bags or gift boxes, gift baskets, if you will,
Yeah.
with some postcards.
It definitely was a basket. I feel like "if you will" is unfair because it was 100% a basket.
Yeah, it was a basket.
Don't be like bag, box, basket, whatever you want to call it. Basket.
There's a series of postcards in there that just highlight these great parks and beautiful spots in Baltimore. And, as you know, I don't know if everyone knows, but I've not been to Baltimore, and I'm so eager to go. And some people don't love crowds. And if you have a problem with crowds, then maybe you don't want to go to one of these, like, you don't want to go to New York City. You don't want to go to Times Square. Go to Baltimore, where you can stretch out a little bit, really enjoy yourself and really take in the city.
And the steamed blue crabs, if you've seen them on television or in films, it's an incredible, the way you eat them, steamed to perfection, spicy kick of Old Bay. We got some Old Bay popcorn in that. Was it a bucket? Was it the gift bucket?
No, it was a basket.
Okay.
It was a basket.
So what they do is they lay it out on a picnic table. It's served with fresh corn on the cob, ripe local tomatoes, melted butter for dipping. Traditional crab feast brings friends and families together. It is really, doing it as a family, it's a fantastic experience. Start your culinary adventure at baltimore.org/dining. Baltimore is just a quick drive or train ride from New York, Philly, and D.C. Plan your visit today at baltimore.org. That's baltimore.org. Go to baltimore.org. Baltimore's slogan is, "You won't get it till you get here." Go to baltimore.org to plan your vacation or getaway today. Support comes from Ancient Nutrition. Hey, Baji.
Yes, Uvi.
All you care about is the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my issues with you, is you're barely in the present and you're never in the past. Well, fortunately for me, the people at Ancient Nutrition realize that the human body is an amazing thing. It can repair and grow in ways that are still pushing the limits of what science can explain, even in 2025. But as you age, your body's natural healing and building processes slow down. It's totally normal, but that doesn't mean there's nothing you can do about it. A collagen supplement from Ancient Nutrition can help you feel and look your best. You were just telling me the other day, hey, I'm the younger brother. How come you look so much better than me? Remember when you were saying that?
Yeah, why is that?
Well, it's because I've been using the collagen from Ancient Nutrition. It tastes great, super easy to use. Just mix it into my coffee in the morning. You know how I love my coffee.
Yeah.
Well, now my coffee is twice as good because it's giving me that morning kick I need, and I look awesome compared to you. You look like an old skeleton next to me now. Ancient Nutrition's multi-collagen advanced lean supplement contains 10 types of collagen from 10 real food-based sources. This formula is powered by clinically studied ingredients that promotes fat loss and healthy weight management, as well as building lean muscle. That's the best kind of muscle, right, Pasha? You love it when I keep it lean?
Yeah, keep it lean.
Collagen can also reduce joint discomfort and improve the look and growth of your skin, hair, and nails. That's your big three. You always say skin, hair, and nails.
Yeah, I call them the SH&L. I call them the SH&N.
You call the S, wait. You call skin, hair, and nails the SH and L. So you use S and H because they're the first letters of skin and hair, but then L because it's the fourth letter of nails?
It's dominant.
Right now, Ancient Nutrition is offering 20% off your first order when you go to ancientnutrition.com/trips. That's ancientnutrition.com/trips for 25% off your first order. ancientnutrition.com/trips. It is delicious and easy to work into your daily routine. Give it a try.
Here we go.
So I'm gonna guess, at least based on the fact that your parents did have this bug, the Showbiz bug, that they were maybe embracing of your path when you decided to take it.
Oh yeah. My dad is like as close to a show dad as you can get. You know, it's like any movie or show I'm working on, I have to introduce my father because he'll show up like day 3, and and he like touches my hair on set and stuff, and it's like it's very sweet, and I enjoy it too. It's nice. I think especially as I've gotten older and my mom's not here anymore. It's like, it's nice to remember that feeling of like, oh yeah, I probably did start this just to make my dad laugh in some way. So the fact that he's like sitting there still is kind of nice.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
When you were,
go ahead, Josh.
Well, I was just gonna. Well, yeah. Well, I'm gonna steer more. Man, the sun's really pouring in on my.
Yeah, it's really just like a white hot sun on Poshy today.
I'm surprised considering your background.
I know
that he looks like he's about to take a
horrible photo booth.
It does. It just looks like a family photo at Sears.
It's like, can you imagine? Like, let me just set this up as close to the natural light as possible. We'll have the two fighting at all times.
That curtain didn't get closed last night, and it's very early here in Los Angeles, Adam.
I know. I'm so jealous.
No. When you were living in New York City, would you ever take trips that were unrelated to your parents performing? Would you ever?
So we didn't have a lot. We had no money. But one of the things that we would do a lot is we had a Dodge Aries, and we would pack the Dodge Aries up and drive from Skokie to New York and back in like a 10-day period. And we did that, I would say, like 6 times a year.
Wow.
And so what was in Skokie before? Is that before you moved to Skokie?
Well, we did that. We would do it. We did it when we first decided that's where we were going to go. So we got an apartment. Then we came back. We packed at the house. Then we drove back. Then every like Rosh Hashanah, we'd like drive back, stay till Yom Kippur, and then drive back, and then like be there for a while, and then drive back for a holiday and drive back. And it was like,
is that because the relationships at the temple were so strong?
No, it was just like my parents didn't have any friends and didn't have any money. So it was like where the only place to go back to was New York, and they couldn't fly us all. So we would like, drive and like stay in Holiday Inns, and with like I remember a Holiday Inn with an indoor pool was the coolest ever. It was like an enormous deal.
Yeah.
And we'd stay in one in like Indiana, and then another one the next day in like Pennsylvania, and then be there, stay for 2 days, and then get back in the Dodge Aries, which smelled like vomit and like, like popcorn in every single area of the seats, like just no air conditioning because my dad didn't want to pay for it because the gas was expensive, like just real trudging through America.
Did you have sort of assigned seats? Did you have your seat in the Aries? You were the oldest, and I imagine the biggest. And could you sort of say?
We did have assigned seats until there was one time where the car got like completely destroyed by both my mom and my sister having like bathroom accidents at the same time.
What?
It was awful.
What?
It was like,
was it a food poisoning situation?
no, it was more of it was my dad's fault, kind of. But we were driving from Chicago to New York, and my dad really had a thing about pulling over. Like you had to like empty your bowels when we stopped for gas.
Yeah, on command. Like now's the time. Yeah.
Because otherwise there was no way he was going to stop, because we were like always trying to make good time. You know, and I remember
to get to the Indiana hotel.
Yeah, I remember always being like, what? Like, are we on a deadline? Like, why? Maybe he was like moving drugs or something, but like I was like, why are we running so fast? But he would not, you know. And so in around Ohio somewhere, my mom, who was pregnant at the time with my youngest sister, was like, I really need to go to the bathroom. And my dad was like really on one, even though she was pregnant, was like, we're going to be at the Holiday Inn in like 20 minutes. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like, it's not like, you can make it, Karen, you know, and then it became like a marital, you know,
yeah.
thing. You always do this, you know, and he was poised not to. And at that moment, we got trapped between like a truck in front of us, a truck behind us, trucks on the side. And so my mom was like, well, now we can't pull over, Steven. It was really tense. And then it started to smell like really bad, really, really bad. And the windows are open, obviously, because we're running low on gas, because we're not stopping for gas till we get to the Holiday Inn. And so we couldn't use the air conditioning, and it smelled like really bad. And we realized that the cars on either side of us were transporting horses.
Oh, like, God.
You know,
yeah,
as you used to see on the highway. And it was really hot, and it was just like blowing into the car. And my mom started to like dry heave and gag. And she was like yelling at my dad while it was going on. She was like, and she was like, and my dad is like, what are you like? You can make it. And she's like, I can't. And she's like looking for something to like throw up in, and we don't have anything. So she just like moves her hands, and she starts like throwing up in her hands. And then my sister finds that to be like the funniest thing she's ever seen, and she can't stop laughing, and she starts screaming that she's peeing in the car. My 6-year-old sister's like, I'm peeing. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm like holding myself by the thing so that my butt is not on the seat, because I'm worried, because it's like those veneer seats.
Yeah.
And like pools
they're not going to
like,
absorb it, right?
No, it's going to
roll right out.
It's going to roll right out. Like, and my dad is screaming like, we can make it. And my mother is just like vomit everywhere. And it just like was in the car, and the horses were on both sides, and we couldn't even get away from it. And it took like 20 minutes. And finally, like one of the trucks gave a little bit of like leeway, and my dad like busted through it, and we pulled over to the side of the road, and we all got out, and it looked like a murder scene, you know. And it was just like, you know what to do. My dad and I took our shirt off, and we're like moving the vomit and cleaning the pee. And then we rode the rest of the way, because he still wouldn't stop to clean it, like for real, till we got to the hotel. And we got to the hotel, and that was in Ohio. And like, so the rest of the car ride was
a long rest of the car ride.
Horrible. The next day it was like walking, like the walk from like the outdoors, like a motel where you like walk outside and you can see the cars parked. Like the family walk from the room to the car, like knowing what you're going to get into.
Did you guys roll up to the Holiday Inn with you and your dad still shirtless?
Oh yeah. Because he was not going to spend money on like an I Love Ohio shirt at a gas station.
You guys walked in and they're like, wait, are you Pally and Pal?
He was like, here for the gig. Sat down right away at the like loose piano in the hallway.
Shirtless.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like that seems like maybe a bygone era, like dads who wouldn't stop, right? Like,
like I wouldn't do that. I think that is a bygone era of like the dad is the dad, and there's things like, small things that matter to your dad that run the whole family. Like that patriarchy, I can safely say that small part of the patriarchy is gone.
Yeah, I think it's gone. Certainly amongst,
in my house.
Oh yeah, in my house, yeah.
Well, also you've gone through something.
Yeah, but that's true. I would never be like, we're making good time.
Yeah, right. You remember Ohio?
No, I have a tattooed. Remember, I say to my sisters, remember Ohio.
Do you feel like this is accurate to your memory of our youth? Is that because now, Pally, having kids, I feel like the amount we think about, have they recently had water? Do we have water with us to give them? Did they,
hydration?
And I feel like we, especially on road trips, like we grew up at a time where your parents were like, you could have a little bit of water before we leave, and then you won't have water again.
Oh yeah,
like don't ask us about water. Like we never, that idea of like, I need a water on a road trip, I feel like I would never say.
Snacks for the car is like something, I don't know where that got invented. Like my wife will say that we'll be driving to my sister-in-law in like Connecticut, which is no joke, like maybe 45 minutes, hour from the house. And the amount of like cool Yeti bags. I'm like, what is it? Why? And it does nothing except the kids just eat the whole time. You just hear, and my kids are so gross when they eat. Like the sound of my 12-year-old daughter like eating something is like worse than my dog licking itself. It's like a horrible sound, like the mouth is open, shit is flying everywhere. There's like, you can hear stuff spilling with disregard, like whoops. You're like, oh, like, but still like you were saying, so like you can't turn around as the dad and be like, I just got it washed. Like I would never. It's
a bygone era.
Yeah.
Bygone era.
But I think that's good though, probably.
Yes. My daughter the other day, 3.5, told me she had a secret, and then she leaned in and was like fully just eating. And so it was like really close, like, and I'm like, honey, can you tell me the secret when you're done? When you're done with that mouthful?
Oh,
just
my 7-year-old will sometimes like eat things weird, like he'll like take like a lifesaver, and like he'll be like, and then like take it out of his hand and be like white.
Oh yeah,
from the light, like all over his hand, and it's like on his mat. He looks like he just like did a rail in the bathroom. I'm like, and then he'll come back with and it's like, dude, those things are circle for a reason, man. You put your tongue in the middle of it and play around.
He wants to hold it like a lollipop. He's making his
I'm like, there's no stick, Einstein.
We my wife will also do this thing where she will, when I'm in charge, it's like a higher level difficulty of snack. Sometimes I'll bring the boys on a train and she'll say, oh, I cut up some vegetables and hummus. And I'm just like, don't make me.
That's like that's legit like wipeout. You might as well be jumping on a giant red ball.
And just like sitting in a three, like it's the three of us in a booth on a train, and they're just like, like covered. The fronts of them are just painted in hummus. Nothing
worse than like 7 o'clock in the morning. There's a Starbucks across from my kid's school, and like if my youngest Drake is like, I want a bagel. That is fucking ninja war time. Because you have to like, the bagel comes with a thing of Philadelphia like that.
Yeah.
And you're holding his water bottle and his backpack and his helmet for his scooter. So you have to like take the plastic knife, hold the bagel, and in one chop, be like, like trap it enough because you know it's not going to get through, and then like jam it down. All the while, it's like, I'm late. You know what I actually just realized, Meyers boys? We have just achieved like pure podcasting in its purest form.
Which is?
We're three white dudes complaining about our wives.
Yeah, we did it.
I haven't said anything about my wife.
You're guilty by association.
You didn't say enough nice. You had plenty of times to jump in and say you had a good one.
If I was your wife, I'd be like, what about all the good pack? I mean, a lot of snacks get in that bag that are mine that are good that you like.
Also, Josh is a newlywed, so none of it counts.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, none of it counts. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. Support comes from Helix. Hey, Pashi.
Yeah, Sufi.
Do you have a wearable device? I'm a wearable device guy these days.
I don't. No,
yeah.
I don't.
I got one of these rings that tells you how you sleep, and it's really nice because you like to know how your body is behaving when you're not awake to watch it. But also,
you like stats too.
I like stats, but I don't like bad stats. And one of the things about these wearable devices, sometimes their news is not great.
Right.
And they're like, hey, you are not sleeping well. And, for me, I'm just now, like, I'm fully just waking up sometimes with, bad neck, bad back. I'm getting a little bit older. But I got myself one of these Helix mattresses.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Man, oh, man.
They're pretty fantastic.
Yeah. On their website, there's a quiz that you take, and you sort of describe you and your partner's sleeping, habits. Do you sleep on your back, your side, your stomach? Do you like things firm, soft, medium? And they've got so many different mattresses, and you can dial it into what you specifically need. And then we got this mattress, and it's the best.
I've had immediate improvements in my sleep tracking. And to echo what you just said, when my stats are better, I'm in a better mood, because also it means I slept better.
Yeah. I used to sort of sleep in I'm a side sleeper most of the time, and I'd wake up with like sore shoulders because the mattress was just too firm. But I do like a firm mattress, but now I've got this Helix mattress that's firm, but with a little bit of softness. Like it splits the difference between medium and firm, which is what I needed, and it's a dream.
I would say between medium and firm is kind of splitting the difference between mom and dad.
Okay.
Yeah. Go to helix.com/trips for 20% off site-wide. That's helix.com/trips for 20% off site-wide. Helix, HELIX, sleep.com/trips. This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by Nissan. Hey, Pashi.
Yes, Sufi.
Let's talk about some things that never go out of style.
Ooh, I love this game. Like,
pasta.
Bomber jackets.
High-top shoes. Jean jackets.
Baseball hats.
You know what else never goes out of style?
What's that?
Going big. That's why we at Family Trips love partnering with Nissan, because they know that going big never goes out of style, especially when it comes to the 2025 Nissan lineup. And the Nissan vehicle we want to give a huge shout out to today, the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X.
No terrain is too tough for the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. It's the most capable Armada ever built. With a new powerful engine, incredible towing capacity, and adventure-ready technology, this is the first Armada to earn the Pro 4X badge.
It's built for the most rugged of terrain thanks to the fact that it's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, which means it's ready to give you the freedom to explore further and to propel your adventures to new heights. So thanks again to Nissan for sponsoring this episode of Family Trips. Explore further with the Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Staying Alive is an all-new podcast from Smartless Media hosted by Adam Pally and John Gabris. Two 40-something best friends, actors, and comedians who have realized that after spending the better part of their lives treating their bodies terribly, they should probably make some changes. Adam and John will be enlisting health experts and comedy friends as they explore real ways to live longer and undo the damage they most definitely have already done. Guests will include medical professionals and wellness experts such as cardiologist Dr. Amar Shear, immunologist Dr. Shruti Naik, and neuroscientist Dr. Heather Berlin. Plus John and Adam's funny friends including Jerry O'Connell, Ego Wodum, Paul Shear, Jillian Bell, Rosebud Baker, Nicole Byer, and more. New episodes are out every Thursday. Listen to Staying Alive wherever you get your podcasts.
Here we go.
All right, so when you went back to New York City, were you visiting a family? Were your grandparents in the city?
My grandmother, actually moved into the apartment that I grew up in, so we would go right back and stay. Again, this is like, I don't know how how we did this, but we would stay in the 1-bedroom apartment that we all grew up in with my grandma.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a shtetl. It was like legit, you know.
What were the sleeping arrangements before you moved? And
Well,
do you remember?
there was it's still there. It's still in our family too. My cousin still lives in the apartment. If you've ever been to Stuyvesant Town, all the apartments, they're like they're the same configuration.
Right.
And they have this one super long closet in the hallway of the 1-bedrooms. And so that got turned into me and my sister's rooms with 2 twin beds and it was like a railroad. And so when we came back, they just shoved 2 small mattresses in that closet and we slept like amongst my grandma's coats and stuff.
Wow.
And then my mom and dad were in the living room on the pullout and my grandma was in the bedroom.
Gotcha. And was sleeping among grandma's coats, did that have an excitement to it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Seth.
Well, I don't know. Grandma's you could love the smell of those coats.
It was putting on that mink was the first time I really felt like myself. It was awful. It was like smelled like moth balls and stuff. And but there was also still a lot of my stuff, like like my games and stuff were like tucked on the shelf. So there was also this other weird feeling of like being displaced. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, again, I don't look back on it at all negatively because my parents were young and we were young and because I was the oldest, my parents were like, if my dad was 33 when he went to medical school and I was 9, he was like 24 when he had me, he was like really. And so it all just felt like we were part of this, like, I don't know. It felt good in a way, I'm sure there were negative parts of it that I've just completely buried, but like to sleep in that closet with my sister felt like, oh yeah, it was like, this is what we do to help mom and dad. And like, I don't know, the team always felt connected.
It's great. That's all you can ask. Are you close? Are your sisters, are you still close with them?
Yeah, we're all really close. They live in New Jersey, like 30 minutes away.
Great.
And they live, I think, like 3 houses. You can cut through their houses through backyards.
Oh, fun.
Oh, it's great.
Which is really sweet. Which is how my mom, when we finally moved to New Jersey, we were in a house that was like a block from my aunt. So it's all very, nice like that. Really.
Did you go on, as adults, did you ever go on vacation with your parents?
We did one, money was tight because of all going to school so late. Student loans kind of made everything a little dicey, but my parents never really let on. We did do one major trip to London when I was like 16 with my mother's sister and her kids, who we all kind of grew up really tight to. And that trip was a disaster.
Oh, what happened?
How so?
Total disaster. Because we were low on, my aunt's husband, my uncle Robert, is very high up at Deloitte and always was. So they were well off, So when we would vacation with them, there was like, it's a little awkward, like, sometimes because they would be like, well, we're going to go. Yeah, the imbalance would be because just socially, like they would go out to a nice dinner and there were times where, we would all be hanging out and then they would go to dinner and with their kids and we would not, and like that was always weird because you'd be like, but that was my parents being like, we can't pay, so we're not going to involve ourselves,
Right.
It was never it was never from the other side. But this one trip, everyone really wanted to go to London. And so because my parents couldn't really afford it, they, through a family connection, were given housing at Florida State University's exchange program.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, my parents thought this would be like a good vacation. And when we got there, we were in like Shoreditch, like East London.
Mm-hmm.
in like a dorm with kids from all over the world who were like, Florida State, huh? Like, and we were like, I don't know anything about Florida. Like, it was freezing. There was no heat. It was like raining. And my uncle and aunt who had money it was just like, became very clear as soon as we walked in. My uncle just like walked in and walked out and went to a hotel.
And that's, I mean, again, because it's not it's an incredible city, but like you get far out of the center, like it's like you're somewhere else.
It's like, it's like New York or any city. It's like, you like student housing from a public university in Florida is not going to be the best housing in London.
Right. That's one of the first rules they teach on hotels.com. That's one of the first things they tell
There
you.
were so many options too. And like we saw a Holiday in London and I was like,
let's do that.
You guys don't have points
after all this time?
But then they rented a car and my uncle who had traveled a lot to England was very comfortable driving a car out to the country. And then my father was like not, and he pulled out of the rental car place and immediately took the mirror just like right off the thing. And it was like, this like disgruntled Jewish guy who's like screaming in the middle of like a traffic circle, like, God damn it! Like walking out to pick up the mirror. Like, it was just, and my grandmother was there and she was in our car and she was like, I'd really like to be in the other car. And like, I remember my father being like, me too, to be in the other car too. But no, Robert's got to show us he can drive. And like me and my sisters in the back just like holding on for dear life.
This is your grandmother was saying to her son, I want to be in a different car.
Like, yes. Yeah. And my mother was just like so nervous and of course being like, you're making me nauseous. My dad being like, whose idea was this? Like that same thing. And then like we finally got an hour away and we had to like parallel park and my dad was just like losing his mind. How do they do this on this side? He's like, Adam, get out of the car, look in the front. And I would have to be like, I think you're okay. Like,
that as a kid, when your dad's melting down and asks for your help, and you're like, I don't think I'm going to deliver.
I knew. He's like, get outside and look. I was like, what?
Look the other way.
Like, look at what? I really don't want to look. Tell me how bad it is. How bad is it?
I don't know. What do you want to hear?
I'm like, we're nowhere near the curb, Dad.
It's real bad.
What about the curb on the other side?
I don't need to look, Dad.
We're closer to that one, I guess.
Everybody's already looking at you, Dad.
Dad, there's horses in the lane. There's horses.
And then do you feel like if you polled your sisters and your parents, was their history of it as well? Like that London trip was a disaster? Or do you think they were like,
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's known as a meltdown. I mean, it was one of the biggest meltdowns I've ever seen my father. When you see your father have a meltdown, then that he has to, like, after we parked at the new hotel, he walked around.
Yeah,
like he just got out of the car and walked around.
Yeah,
and was like we could see him, like walking around. Like he wasn't like walking away. He was just walking around,
just blowing off some steam.
Yeah, which is the definition of blowing off steam, which is like just something which I will say I have done that. Yeah. I have now as a dad, like slammed the car door and walked around. And like, whoa. But like, yeah, that was watching your father do that is just tough. Yeah, and he was all dressed up because he's like, thought of himself as like an American abroad. He was like in a scarf, like a trench coat. Remember he's a man of the theater.
Yeah. Was your mom in sequins?
Oh yeah, no, my mom had like a big hat on. She was like, "You're making me nauseous," and he was like, "He's like, we can't in France. It's the same side. You know that? Did you know that?"
Do you think he was more on edge when he was on a vacation with Robert?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too. That seems like a lot to carry.
I mean, I think I can relate to that immensely, especially being in showbiz. Like, you know, you make friends with showbiz people, and then it's like, you know, okay, we're all going away to Sun City, Idaho. You can only get there by 4 planes, and you're like, we're doing what? Like, you know, I've never been in syndication. Like that. It's like, you know, you are that is a reality I think still hits, but I think it was probably harder. Related, like being related must have been really tough. Like,
so this was Robert married his wife's sister, your mom's sister. Yeah. I think that must be tough. Like,
and they came in a pair, you know, and like, so it was, you're always together, and, you know, he's a doctor, but he's in debt. It's like difficult to explain, you know, why like the doctor is driving a puked up Dodge Aries still. It's like, it's just it doesn't look right, you know, like why does the doctor live in a condo in the suburbs is like,
it's a late starting doctor. I mean, that's, you know.
Yeah, no, totally. And he'll tell you that now from his like, you know, Upper West Side penthouse. He'll be like, you know, it wasn't always like this. I'm like, yeah, no, I was there. I was
sleeping underneath your mom's coats.
Yeah, I remember. Well, tell me more. Tell me more
about how it used to be.
What was it like with your son?
Was it hard for him?
Yeah, I bet he didn't have it so easy, huh?
Fantastic. It is always a delight to see you and to talk to you. But before we let you go, Josh is going to ask you the questions that we ask everybody. So brace yourself.
Cool.
Speed round.
All right, here we go. You can only pick one of these. Is your ideal vacation relaxing, adventurous, or educational?
Relaxing.
What is your favorite means of transportation?
Driven in a car.
If you could take a vacation with any family, alive or dead, real or fictional, other than your own family, what family would you like to take a vacation with?
The Wayans.
If you had to be stranded on a desert island with one member of your family, who would it be?
My wife. My wife.
What do you consider your hometown?
New York City.
Would you recommend New York City as a vacation destination?
Absolutely not.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Great place to live and like, you know, feel a part of things or whatever. But I can't imagine like being like, I want to relax. Let's go to see a show on 48th and 6th.
All right, and then Seth's got our closer questions.
Adam, have you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
No.
Do you want to go?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I went to school in Arizona for a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because they after a couple of years, they were like, we think you got it.
Yeah, I'm the first person to be told they finished University of Arizona in 6 months.
We had the Doogie Howser.
Our mutual pal.
I'm the Doogie Howser.
Our mutual pal, Ike Barinholtz, used to always wear an Arizona State shirt that was like a Monopoly board, and it said, Arizona State College, it's just a game. And then Ike famously
Pretty
dropped
sure for
out.
Ike, I was going to say. I don't think Ike finished high school.
He did. He finished high school, but he had some issues with college.
They gave him that certificate.
Yeah. He'd paid the money.
Thank you, buddy. It's always such a delight to talk to you.
Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. I appreciate it.
Love you too, buddy.
And good luck with Staying Alive, the new comedy meets wellness podcast.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Welcome to the space.
Oh, God.
Love you, buddy.
Bye.
See you, Adam.
Family trips with the Meyers brothers.